Hello again. Today we are factoring a polynomial in quadratic form. All right, so we're going to factor this polynomial. Here I have x to the fourth minus 36. So I want to ask, is there a monomial that I can factor out of both x to the fourth and 36? There is not. So now I would ask myself, is this a difference of two squares? Well, it's definitely a difference because it's a subtraction problem. And do I know the square root of x to the fourth and the square root of 36? Yes, I do. Because x to the fourth square rooted is x squared. So I make my two sets of parentheses. And since this is a difference of two squares, I remember that I have a plus in one parenthesis and a minus in the other one. I have an x squared in both parentheses, and then the square root of 36 is 6. So the answer to this one is x squared plus 6 times x squared minus 6. So here I have 1/16 x to the fourth power minus 1. So I ask, is there a monomial that I can factor out of both of these terms? And I can only divide them both by 1. So that doesn't change the value of it. So then I ask, is it a difference of two squares? Is it possible to take the square root of both terms? And I'd have to say yes, because I can take the square root of 1/16, which is the square root of 1 over the square root of 16. And then I take the square root of x to the fourth minus the square root of 1. I can take square roots of everything here. So what that looks like is I have two parentheses. It's a difference of squares, so I'll have a plus and a minus. I think the easiest part to write in next would be the square root of 1, which is 1 and 1. And the square root of x to the fourth is x squared. Now, what is the square root of 1/16? Well, the square root of 1 is 1, and the square root of 16 is 4. So my answer would be 1/4 x squared plus 1 times 1/4 x squared minus 1. But sometimes you get a situation like this here, where I can actually factor that as well, because that too is a difference of squares. So I have 1/4 x squared minus 1. And I can factor that into two parentheses because it is a difference of squares. So if I have 1/4 x squared minus 1, that is a difference of squares because I can take the square root of 4 and the square root of 1 and the square root of x squared as well as the square root of 1. So because this is a difference of squares, I'll have two sets of parentheses. I'll put a plus in one and a minus in the other. I will take the square root of this 1, which is 1, and I'm going to have an x in each parenthesis. And now I take the square root of 1/4. So the square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 4 is 2. And I will put that 1/2 in the second parenthesis as well. So remember that this is equal to this. So that means that the full answer also includes the 1/4 x squared plus 1. So that means my final answer is 1/4 x squared plus 1 times 1/2 x plus 1 times 1/2 x minus 1. And that's how you factor a polynomial in quadratic form.